2, welcome to Jackie's Library Corner. I am Jackie and it's time for an update video for you guys. So my July started with me filming my favorites video. I had to make it into a two-parter video because I got interrupted when filming the first part, so I decided let me just actually end it so that I don't have to start over and then make it a two-parter. So I just filmed that, part 2. Because unfortunately I'm back to work for a few days. I'm off today, but then I had to go back yesterday, and then I have to go back tomorrow. And then unfortunately in a sense I won't be able to film anything, and I probably won't get as much reading done. I do have family coming into town, so I'll be spending time with them and probably won't read a lot. I'm going to read a little bit, of course. I can read in bed, and we'll probably go to the pool and maybe read a little bit there. Although, it's silly, but my oldest nephew, commented on, oh, she reads, why is she always reading? And it made me feel a little self-conscious. Even though he's my nephew, he's a little kid, he's a little boy. And I feel like he should read more. I feel like he should read, I want him to read more. But it just made me a little aware, self-conscious, and kind of like, I was a mix of amused by the comment at the time, but then a little bit like, I hope no one thinks I'm prioritizing reading over spending time with family. I don't mean it like that. I'm using this opportunity because, I'm taking a break from the water. But anyway, yeah, so it kind of was like, but anyway, so I'll read a little bit with them, but not as much as I would like to. But I wanted to have something done that I could talk about in my first update of July, and it just keeps doing that. So the first book I read and finished, although it's not the only one I'm reading. The other 2 books I'm reading are a little bit longer. That's why I decided to pick up this one. And I did want to read it. I intended to read this books about India during the summer because of the hot climate of India. It felt right for the summertime. So this is a modern shortened version of this Indian epic Ramayama. So it does a similar thing to what the abridged version of The Tale of Genji did, where it's a shortened version where it takes the basic story and slims it down so that it's easier reading and isn't as big. And this is kind of a folk tale a little bit. It's like a fairy tale almost, where this prince, who is the reincarnation of this god Vishnu, he has to prove himself and fulfill his destiny, defeat these monsters. And he finds his lady love, Sita, who is so beautiful, and marries her, and he's asked to be king by his father, but then his stepmother is like, no, you promised my son that he would be king, and I want you to banish Rama, even though everyone loves Rama and wants him to be king. Including his stepmom. She loved him, but then she was manipulated and convinced that, oh, they're going to take away your power from you. So he and his wife have to go into the desert, and eventually his wife gets kidnapped by the 10-headed demon Ravana because he becomes obsessed with her thanks to his sister, who was obsessed with Rama and wants Rama, and thinking, oh, I'll get rid of her, Sita, and then he'll want me. And there is a war between him and Ravana, and he gets the help of the Monkey King. And it's a fairy tale basically, and it was fun. There were times when, when I was reading this, I was wondering what more is in the ending epic that makes it longer than this. And I do think there are more details in the book, probably in the original epic, that aren't included in this. They kind of simplified the story. Like, there's probably a lot more to it than this. And I imagine a lot more happens to Rama, and a lot more, And like I said, Sarah in A Little Princess tells the story, but there are parts that she leaves out. And I think because it's a kid's story and she doesn't want, there's things that she doesn't like, she tells a more kid friendly version. And like at one point, and there's stuff in this, like the things with the monkeys, the Monkey King, and he kills the Monkey King's brother because the brother took the throne from the person who's supposed to be the king. And Rama has to kill him, and well, that part was not told in the story, in the original. And also, of course, in A Little Princess, they probably didn't want to, the author and then the adaptation didn't want to waste time on all that stuff, because that wasn't the story of A Little Princess. Little Princess, this is just a story that Sarah is telling because she grew up in India, and she probably really enjoyed the story. Probably heard it growing up and just absolutely loved it and decided to tell her own version. But it's just, and I kind of like the stuff with the monkeys. That was actually kind of fun, and I do, again, I'm trying to picture these monkeys, and that, like I said, that was really, all the thing with the monkeys was really cool and just really fun. Like, you don't see a lot of stories with, like where the monkeys are the heroes, or get to help the good guy. You don't get a lot of stories like that, so that was really fun. I mean, and just such a immersive, crazy story, adventure, there's romance, and I enjoyed this. I had a good time with it. I mean, it's not an all-time favorite, and like I said, I'm curious to see what the other one, I have another version that's another retelling, and it's a longer book, so I'm guessing it has more in it, and maybe I'm wondering if the characters are a little more developed and a little more complicated in that one, because, like, Rom is almost too good, but then he does a lot of things that, like, he shows that he has a temper, and is easily manipulated and swayed by others, and persuaded to do things that are going to get him in trouble. Like, there's only I think the guy says one of his brothers that accompanies him when he gets cast out, he's the only smart one. He's someone that's like at one point, Sita sees this golden deer, and they don't realize that the deer is Ravana's brother in disguise. I think it's his brother. And she's like, ooh, pretty gold deer. I want it, Let's bring it home with us, and, it'll be my special pet. And Rama, wanting to please his wife, goes after her, and, meanwhile, Lakshana is like, Lakshana is like, dude, you don't know. Could be a trick. I mean, you know that you're in the middle of desert in dangerous territory, and there are people that don't like you and want to hunt you down. So you cannot trust this. You don't know what this is. First of all, there's no such, in reality, there's no such thing as golden deer. And he tries to convince him, don't do this. Like, both Rama and Ravana have brothers that are a lot smarter than them. And a little more cautious. Look, don't jump to the conclusion. Don't do anything reckless until you know for sure. Like, they both had smarter brothers. But then, of course, we wouldn't have the story if these guys were a little more bright. But yeah, but anyway, this was really fun. Because it's a shorter version, it was a quick read. But I mean, at some point I would love to read the original epic and see how much more is in this book. Maybe. But at least I'm gonna read that other retelling that I have. So that's my current read that I finished. I am also reading, I don't have it with me because I wanted to leave it downstairs, because I'm gonna read on the back deck. But after read, I might not stay out there for long, because I think at this point it might start to get hot. But there is a breeze, so we will see. But I was thinking about sitting out there and continue reading that. I just wanted to film these videos for you guys. I also started reading Mad Ship. this. I wanted to immediately jump into book 2 of the Live Ship Traders trilogy because I'm trying to again break that habit of taking a long time between books in a series or trilogy, or even duology. So I figured I'd immediately jump into this. And for some reason, I couldn't remember how this first, because I read the prologue in the first chapter when I went to bed, on when I went to bed the night I finished Ship of Magic. And for some reason, the next day, when I was filming a video to update you guys, for some reason, I could not remember what the prologue in the first chapter were, what perspective. And it turns out we were with Paragon and the character of Amber. Paragon was a ship that went mad, and Amber was a woman that there's something, she's not from around Big Town. There's people are they don't trust her. She's an outsider, but she forms a kinship and a bond with Paragon. But because Paragon has had a lot of distrust built in him, he does not trust people and thinks people are going to betray him. He doesn't trust Amber. And also when she is saying to him, your masters are going to sell you, he refuses to believe that they would, because they are his family. He loves them, and it's why would they sell me? And Amber is trying to prove to him, tell him, assure him, I'm sorry, but they are going to sell you, and I'm trying to save you, but he refuses to believe her. So that really, so they're kind of a side plot. I mean, the main plot picks up right after, sometime after the first book ended, and our characters are kind of in a bit of a standoff, a bit of a position of, okay, what we do next will define where we're gonna go, what's gonna happen. It's a turning point for these characters, whatever direction they'll take next. All of them, I think, are at a crossroads and have to make some difficult decisions, and what to do and how to respond to this, what to do, and that will decide their fate. And some of these relationships are Wintro and Vivasia's relationship is not in a great place right now in the book. I think he's finally resigned himself to his relationship with his father is not going to be what he hopes for, and his father is just angry and bitter and paranoid, and I still hate his guts. But yeah, so we're gonna see where they go from here. We don't know. Like I said, they're in a crossroads, and I'm wondering what decisions these characters are gonna make next. And our character, is Althea gonna reunite with her mom and sister? How that reunion is gonna go? What's gonna happen to Malta? Is she gonna have to go live with the with the Rainwilds? What's gonna happen when she meets that young man who proposed marriage to her and tried to present a suit to her? And how she can respond to that, because I think she needs to get some punishment and some serious consequences for her actions and her selfishness. I want to see that, her get her comeuppance and to get a reality check. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I hope it does. And I don't know what's gonna happen. Are Wintro and Vivacia is their relationship forever broken? Are they gonna mend fences at any point? I mean, is Kyle ever gonna wake up and realize that he created his own mess? It's his own fault. He keeps blaming Wintro. It's your fault. If you had just done what I said and were what I wanted you to be, then we wouldn't be in this mess. And I'm like, dude, you did this to yourself. You forced this on your son. He was perfectly happy. You want your son to be your little puppet, live up to your expectation, represent you. And it's I understand there are a lot of parents who would love their kids to represent them, but your son is an individual. He's his own person. And like I said, I know this. I know it's cinema therapy. It's called cinema therapy for a reason. I look at movies and on a rare occasion TV shows if they're not too long. But and then you also have Men Delight. But I really wish someone like those guys, because the guy who one of the guys that runs, Jonathan Decker, he's a professional therapist. He's a licensed therapist. I want a licensed therapist to look at books and discuss these characters like this, because this family is so dysfunctional. They would benefit from therapy. Granted, Kyle wouldn't listen, but because he's such a stubborn ass and thinks he's always right. And then Kenneth too would benefit from it, because he is so obsessed with getting a live ship, and he's so bitter and paranoid about Etta and what she does to him in Ship of Magic to save his life. But anyway, I haven't read a lot. Like I said, I haven't read a lot, but I'm gonna jump into this. I'm kind of trying to work on prioritizing Moby Dick and reading this one slowly and coming back to it. I probably won't finish it until August. I mean, maybe I'll get lucky. We will see. At least I'm gonna probably bring this with me when I go to the pool during this week that they're visiting. But anyway, but so that's what I'm currently reading. I think I might pick up The Path to the Nest of Spiders as well by Italo Calvini. I think that's how you say it. Calvino, I think. And I also need to pick up this one, the Oedipus plays by Sophocles, and I want to start it now because I know reading this when I'm distracted can make it hard for me to get into it, because I won't be able to concentrate when I'm reading, because the way this is written, it's ancient text, so it's the way it's written is a little confusing. It reads the dialogue reads kind of like a poem, and it can be very confusing if I can't concentrate. And then also I want to read one of the poems in one of the plays in this the first play, Ivanova. I want to start reading this one because I've had these plays, but I don't pick them up. I haven't picked them up because they're not my usual reads. So because I'm very much a novel reader, and I still am wanting to attempt reading some Jane Austen, but that might happen later. I mean, I've told people in multiple comments and videos on Jane Austen July, people videos on Jane Austen July. I've said I want to read these, and I do. I mean it. I do want to read them, but I don't know if that will happen. I hope it will. But I think I might read a little bit of this. The first play being Oedipus the King. I did start it, but I'm gonna read a little bit more. I might read some of it today. We will see. So my community does do fireworks today instead of tomorrow, and I'm working tomorrow anyway, although I'll get off at 5, so, I mean, we would be rushing to get to if fireworks were done on the 4th in this community, but I would probably bring my books with me, but I think they do that every year, do it on the 3rd instead of the 4th. I don't know why, but both my mom and I kind of gave each other the impression that we are okay if we don't see fireworks. I know it's tradition in our community, but like, I don't know, it's fun, but at the same time it's like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, when we get there, yeah, we have a good time, but I'm not over eager to see them, so we will see. I could watch like 1776, the movie adaptation of the play at the stage show, although I should probably watch it tomorrow. But I also have to watch Legion. I want to get as much of season 2 watched as possible before in the next couple days, so I want to prioritize that. But which, by the way, that's a really good show. It's kind of a crazy show, very confusing. And it's basically, if you're familiar with the X-Men lore, this, I guess in a way, he's the bastard child. This character, David Haller, is the bastard child of Professor X, Charles Xavier. And he kind of had to abandon him. And then, like, although you don't know about that, I only know about that because of, I looked it up and stuff. But, like, David has this parasite, he has these powers, telekinesis and mind reading, I think, or like he has powers of the mind, and he has this parasite that attached himself when he was a baby, this evil demon creature called the Shadow Farouk, or the Shadow King, and it's currently taken the form of this woman, Lenny, this woman he met when he was in a mental institution, because he was put in a mental institution because of his psychic abilities that thought he was like schizophrenic or something. And this group of people who are studying these powers and know the truth about David, they save him from this mental institution, and they try to help him with his powers, understanding them and figuring out why he's so dangerous and why his powers are out of control. And there's these other people have all these different powers, except for, I don't know if Melanie does. She's kind of the one that heads all this. I don't know if she has any of these kinds of any power. I think she might be just a scientist or something, but like, you find out later that her husband also was like David, and he got too much into his power to where he lost himself and got trapped himself in this frozen state. And she's hoping that maybe David can help her get her husband back. And that's kind of her motivation. But she also wants to help David so that he is not a threat to humanity. David also has a love interest, Sydney, who she can't touch anyone because then she'll switch bodies with that person. And like, she can't have skin to skin contact. And at one point, David creates this, in his mind, this room where he and Sydney can be together and touch. And Sydney is trying to help David figure it all out because she got taken by this group of people first. And thinking, because they accidentally touched and switched bodies. So she got out of the institute. They were thinking they had David because he was so powerful. But then it turns out it's her, so they decide to continue to take her and help her with her own abilities and get to know her. She joins the team, and they get David out of there. David also has a sister. When he finds out he's adopted, his sister got taken by this other group of people, this Division 3, who were trying to get David and get rid of him because he was a threat. And they take the sister, and they try to persuade her to tell them anything about David, but she doesn't know anything. She doesn't believe. She still thinks he's schizophrenic. That's why he's there. She doesn't realize that he has powers, and she's held hostage by this group. And at one point, David, he finally gets access to her, and finds out that she got taken via his psychic powers, and he goes on a mission to save her, without the group of people he works to that are helping him. So they are forced to go on this mission, and it also allows the Shadow King, because at this point they've already figured out that Lenny is not legit. So they all have to come together and face Lenny, who has captured David, who is holding David hostage because she wants his body she wants to consume, lock David away and use his body. So the Shadow King can resurface. there are 3 seasons. It did get canceled, but it's still a really cool show. It's very bizarre at the same time. It's very weird, and there's a lot of weird sequences, and the characters are always doing these things that you don't expect. And I'm not talking just the story, but just like there's a Bollywood dance sequence at one point. There's like a club sequence in the season 2 where they're in a club. There's a lot of weird stuff. There's at one point they end up, it looks like it's like a silent movie where they lose the ability to speak and sound gets taken away, and at one point in season 1 they treat it like it's a silent movie, even with the cue card, even with the little cards and everything. It's like, it's not for everybody. It's not a show for everybody, how it's stylized, but I think it's actually really fun if you're willing to get into and get lost in the story, and if you like the confusion, trying to piece it all together, if you like the mystery and all the, these eccentric things that these guys do with the show and everything with the story. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but it was really fun. It's really fun so far, and like I said, it's X-Men related too. But anyway, so that's how things are going right now. Like I said, I think I'm gonna read The Nest of Spiders and Oedipus the King, and read a little bit of Moby Dick. But now I might have lost my opportunity to sit outside and read again, because it's now the sun is getting close to its highest point. It's probably almost lunchtime, so. But I just wanted to give you guys an update video, because for a week I won't be able to film anything, probably. I might film something on my next day off, because I think it's going to be before everyone comes. I'll see. But I don't know, because I don't know if I'll have anything, because I'm doing an update video for you now, and I don't know if I'll have anything for you guys to talk about. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this update. As always, would love to know what you're currently reading. How's your summer reading going specifically? I would love to know that. And I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.